Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. The moment Kevin Sinfield carried his former teammate Rob Burrow over the marathon finish line in Leeds, raising millions for MND research.
To share that moment with him at the end was incredible, but I ain't got a clue what to do. The time didn't matter, it was just about getting through and making sure he was looked after properly.
Tonight we're joined by Rob's dad and his sister, who also tackled the 26 miles. Also on the programme, inspired by the story of a man from North Yorkshire, a campaign to help support young people with young onset dementia. School exams are almost back to normal after COVID as thousands of children across the region start their GCSEs and A-levels. And the Sheffield writer encouraging a new generation of young readers with his story about a mythical moggy.
And just take a look at this. This was Filey Bay this morning, looking absolutely glorious. And the good news is there's plenty of fine weather on the way. Join me for that week ahead forecast.
Hello, I hope you're well on this Monday evening. There's only one story we can start with tonight. Two men, two teammates, two friends. There was a really emotional ending to the first Rob Burrow Leeds Marathon yesterday as Kevin Sinfield carried his friend Rob over the finish line. Leeds Rhinos legend Rob was diagnosed with motor neuron disease 4 years ago now. His former teammate Kevin pushed him around the 26-mile course in a sports wheelchair, and it really was such a special event with many people running in honour of those who couldn't take part themselves. For many of us, it was the first time we'd completed a marathon. All in all, around 12,500 runners took part on a very warm Sunday, setting off and finishing at Headingley Stadium. Now, the final figures will be announced tomorrow, but so far more than £3 million has been raised for a number of charities. However, the MND Association told us that as of this morning, the marathon has so far raised £1.47 million, which will go towards Rob's dream of building a centre dedicated to tackling motor neuron disease. Abagiola looks back at a day to remember.
After pushing his friend Rob Burrow around the 26-mile course, Kevin Sinfield carried him across the finish line. An incredible display of friendship, the kind of support Kevin was talking about from the very start of the race.
We have created something incredible in Rob's name, and I can only thank you for that. This marathon has been put together, and it's all about friendship. So I ask you for one thing today. If someone's doing it tough next to you and struggling, get your arm around them, give them a smile, help them through, because that's what we're here for.
15,000 runners set off from Headingley Stadium for the race yesterday. A half marathon and marathon. No matter the distance, a huge challenge ahead.
I've seen Rob and his career all the way through. Also lost a friend, a mentor, a colleague to MND just last year. He was diagnosed around the same time as Rob.
I'm running for my mum, who had motor neuron disease. So, lost her 11 years ago, but try and do this in her memory.
I am running because I saw Rob Burrows and Kevin Sinfield, and I thought if they can do it, we can do it.
Motor neuron disease has ravaged Rob's body. Diagnosed 4 years ago, the former Leeds Rhino star can no longer walk or talk. But that's not stopped him campaigning to raise funds and awareness of the disease that he's now living with.
So proud, really, especially watching Rob Burrows go past it. It's heartbreaking.
What you can do if you really put your mind to it and everything else he has going on in his life, it's just incredible.
It's really emotional, but fantastic.
Rob's wife, Lindsay, took on the challenge too, welcomed by the family as she crossed the line.
I'm very proud of them because 26 miles is a big challenge, and I'm just very proud to have them as my mum and dad. I feel really happy, and I'm pretty sure they are for finishing the marathon, but I just feel really proud of them that they didn't just quit and say I don't want to do it anymore. They got through it and they were determined to do it.
It's tough, it's a tough challenge. But yeah, really, the crowd and the atmosphere was just unbelievable, and just got to see people shouting your names and just looking and seeing all the support for Rob I was so proud.
This marathon effort has raised around £3 million for charity, at least half of that for MND.
To share that moment with him at the end was incredible, but I ain't got a clue what to do. The time didn't matter, it was just about getting through and making sure he was looked after properly. And even when we stop, there's people coming up trying to help, and like people generally care and want to help.
A day no one will forget in a hurry. So much love for a man who is inspiring so many. Abby Jayola, BBC Look North, Leeds.
It was quite a moment, that, wasn't it? Well, I'm certainly not by myself, suffering with some very sore legs today. Some people certainly went above and beyond to get up those hills. You might remember Hilary, she's 84. She helped me with some of my training. I also went out a few times with Ian Flatt. He himself has MND. So does David. I rang alongside him and his wife Helen for most of yesterday. Let's have a listen to how they all got on.
Hello, I'm Hilary. Well done, Hilary! I'm 81. And yesterday it was my 175th marathon. People were jumping out from the crowd to give me a hug because they hadn't seen me for years. And oh, Hilary! I'd no time in view. It didn't matter how long it took. It's harder on your own, but if you've got a captive audience and you're thinking about helping them, you just fly because you're not concentrating on your own self at all.
Hi, I'm Ian, and this some of my friends and family from Team Flat. The marathon exceeded all expectations. I mean, the atmosphere, I wasn't even prepared for it. I seemed to burst into tears every 10 minutes as we were going round. The celebration, the lovely people of Leeds and from further afield shouting our names, cheering us on.
You feel the crowds of Leeds roar, and we felt like superstars and heroes and all of that, and the music was pulsating, so we loved it.
I have to say, Leeds has got to be the hilliest marathon ever.
Brilliant, Mike! Well done!
Hello, I'm David Wilson.
And I'm Helen Wilson.
We spent 5 hours running round. Well, my wife Helen spent 5 hours running round. An absolutely fantastic course. So many fantastic people. Spectators were cheering, clapping. Made us feel very special.
David's diagnosis of MND, when he got the diagnosis of cancer, the glimmer of hope that we had was that there was a cure. Unfortunately for us, it's just the way the dice were rolled. As he came into remission, we got the diagnosis of motor neurone disease, and for that there is no cure. David's life has been significantly shortened.
Let's go, Mum! Let's go, Dad!
We very much believe in making the most of life.
Well, they certainly made the most of the day. Helen never stopped running all the way. I was so impressed with her pushing that really heavy chair. I'm joined now by Rob's dad, Jeff, and his sister, Claire. Claire, we are both wearing our medals with pride. How are your feet?
All right, yes, lots of painkillers, but yeah, getting there.
Now, a little bird told me there wasn't a huge amount of training that went on.
No.
So how did you find it yesterday?
Really hard, but I was very determined to do it, and we did it, so yeah.
We absolutely did do it.
We did.
And what about you, Jeff? How did you find the day? Because it was quite emotional, wasn't it?
It was a roller coaster of emotions. With hindsight, great emotions, but I panicked when Rob finished, and when Kevin picked him up, I thought there was something wrong. And then I saw the smile on his face, so I thought, no, he's fine.
And it was a moment that has gone viral right across the world, and again, highlighting the devastating impact of MND.
Yeah, that's what it needed to do, because it's just raised awareness. But it does, it affects the sufferer, it affects the family. But you just get on with it, you adapt. You adapt, like with all illnesses like this, you adapt, and Rob certainly adapted, you know, he's determined, so we are.
He certainly is determined. And how is he today? Because that must have taken its toll on him yesterday.
Yeah, he's normal self, full of smiles, a little bit more tan than he was yesterday.
I think we all are, aren't we?
Yeah, but he's in great mood today, and he's just so proud of everybody and what they're doing for him, and all the MND sufferers and families.
Yeah. Well, we're super proud of him. And how about for you, Claire? Because To take part in the marathon yesterday, the turnout was incredible, wasn't it?
Yes.
And to know that all of that was created by your younger brother.
I know. I mean, I knew it was going to be big, but yesterday I was quite overwhelmed with it all. I didn't realise just how big it would all be. And to see all those people, it was very emotional, weren't it? But we loved it, yeah.
And your nieces as well loved the event, didn't they?
Yes.
How much did it mean to the whole family? Because it's making memories, those sorts of events, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, it just...
And they're the memories, you know, because you go through the dark places when Rob was first diagnosed, but then it's like a cloud lifting, and this helps those clouds lift because Rob is determined to get better and to help other people find the treatment and the cure.
Claire, will you do another marathon?
Do you know, when I crossed that line yesterday, I was like, oh, I can't do this again. But I'm already today, I'm thinking, I'm going to do it next year.
Well, I kind of thought, I don't think any marathon could be as bad as that, with so many hills, so bring it on.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I'll see you on the start line next year, Claire. Thank you both, and give our love to Rob and Lindsay as well, because she did incredible, didn't she?
She was just like magnificent, yeah, brilliant.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Oh, where are you? There you are. Sorry, it's my marathon brain. You're watching Monday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. Heartbreak for the Spyrites as Chesterfield lose on penalties at Wembley, plus the rest of the weekend's sporting action. A man from North Yorkshire whose diagnosis of young onset dementia has become the inspiration for a major awareness campaign has been speaking about the importance of living every moment. 64-year-old Jonathan Beardsworth was diagnosed with the disease just over 18 months ago. With the help of his best friends and the charity Dementia Forward, Jonathan has launched the You and Me campaign, which just staged its first music festival and conference in Boston Spa. Our health correspondent Jamie Coulson has this.
I've always loved music, always. It's just something to get a lot of things off here and here, to just make you feel good.
When I see him play his music, it's great because it's a place that you've always been. It's a Jonathan place. That's one place that dementia can't get to. Hey, look at these photos.
Jonathan Beardsworth was diagnosed with young onset dementia just over 18 months ago. Since then, he's seen a gradual decline in his memory and ability to communicate. Music offers the 64-year-old a way to remember, but also to forget.
A diagnosis of dementia is like falling off a cliff. You know, you feel like hell has taken you. Our identity is so important for human beings. That something that can take away your identity is hideous.
Just invades you, about which you can really not fight back with. It's extraordinarily difficult at the beginning of all of that.
But Jonathan is fighting back as the inspiration behind a major campaign to raise awareness about young onset dementia. The You and Me campaign began yesterday with a music festival and continued today with a major conference. Devised by Jonathan's best friend and the charity Dementia Forward, it will aim to improve support, research and respite care.
It is a vacuum out there. It's a black hole. There are not appropriate services for people with that diagnosis. And today, it's exciting. It's the beginning of the conversations to fix that hole and stop people with young onset feeling isolated and unsupported.
The campaign will run for 10 years and aim to create a voice for young onset dementia.
You sort of have to think, okay, there's no cure yet. So we have to just make our lives as big as we can. We have to cherish those things you still can do rather than things you can't do.
The only thing you can do is live for what you've got and go into it and do your best to enjoy every bit of it.
Live every moment, a great message there. good luck to anyone who's taking their GCSEs and A-level exams this week. They got underway in full across the region for the first time in 3 years. Unlike last year, students had not been given advance information about the topics they're likely to be tested on. The regulator, Ofqual, says that the disruption caused by COVID will still be taken into account in grades that are awarded, but some students are worried they've been unfairly affected by the virus and more recently strike action. Mark Ansell reports from Wales High School.
They have a spring in their step despite exam season being back in full for the first time since COVID. Last year, students knew the subjects that had come up in their papers and their teachers were involved in giving them their grades. This time, GCSE and A-levels are almost completely being assessed in the exam hall.
We did have a lot of time off in Year 8 and Year 9, and through Year 8 and Year 9 you sit a lot of exams in the hall to prepare you for like when you're actually doing your GCSEs, so we haven't had that getting used to the exam conditions as other years have.
I think, to be honest, people forget that we've also lost quite a big amount of time, so we've lost out on a lot of that studying that we needed, even though it was just Key Stage 3 and a lot of people don't think it's as significant for your GCSEs, it still impacts you a lot.
I think we do need to have exams because some people perform differently in classroom to what they do in the exam hall, and I think for me personally, like my mock exam results were really different to the test that I've done in classroom, and I think I did a bit better in the exam hall, to be honest.
Head teacher Pepe Diasio feels for students doing exams this year, with teachers taking strike action recently and extra bank holidays because of the Queen's funeral and then King's coronation. There's a lot of lost learning.
I can still remember, as you do, the butterflies in the tummy in that situation, knowing that so much can hang on it. And these exams have such an impact on your university placements, your potential career aspirations. And so it's important that we do the best for our young people to make sure they're able to perform at their best.
Exam regulator Ofqual says it's put measures in place to make exams more manageable.
In GCSEs, there are formula and equation sheets for GCSEs in science and maths. And also, in terms of the exam timetable, we've asked JCQ, who kind of coordinate the timetable for the exam boards, to leave space between exams in a particular subject.
These students are fully focused. They have biology GCSE tomorrow. We wish them luck. Mark Ansell, BBC Look North, Wales in Rotherham.
Yes, best of luck everyone taking their exams. Sally, do you remember that summer of freedom after the GCSEs?
I certainly do. I'd like to go back there some days.
A bit late. Busy weekend of sport?
Yeah, really busy, as ever. But first, heartbreak for Chesterfield, who missed out on a return to the Football League after losing on penalties in their playoff final. The Spireites pushed Notts County all the way. They were level 2-2 after extra time, but lost 4-3 on penalties. A disappointing end to the day for their fans who travelled to Wembley.
Gutted, to be honest, yeah. We could have won it in normal time and extra time. Penalties, yeah. I mean, fair play to Notts County. They deserve it on the season, but we could have won it today.
Played really well and come down to penalties, so we can't really ask anything else of the club, the team, the players. It meant a lot, but end of the day, it came down to what he did, and can't really say anything else.
Penalties are always a lottery.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking,
it's hard,
really.
Now to the playoffs, and the club's battling to get those final promotion spots next season. Barnsley are level at 1-1 with Bolton after the first leg of their League One playoff semi-final. Barnsley were first to score after a corner, Devonte Cole laying the ball back for Nicky Cadden to find that bottom corner. Bolton soon got one back though. The return leg is at Oakwell on Friday. And the winner of that game will go to Wembley for the final. But Sheffield Wednesday, also in the playoffs, look unlikely to join them after they lost 4-0 at Peterborough on Friday. There's better news, though, for Bradford in League Two. They beat Carlisle 1-0 in the first leg of their playoff semi-final. The Bantams took the lead 18 minutes in with this goal from Jamie Walker. The second leg is in Carlisle on Saturday. And in Rugby League, just time to tell you about a remarkable comeback from Leeds Rhinos on Friday night. The Rhinos were trailing 14 points to 6 at half-time and had a player sent off. But in the second half, they scored 6 tries to Wigan's 1, including this, an intercepted pass by Liam Tyndall, dodging past to score just before the final whistle, making it Wigan 18, Leeds 40. And you can see highlights from all this weekend's games on the Super League show on the iPlayer from 7.
Thank you, Sal. Finally tonight, here is a perfect tale. An author from Sheffield is feeling like the cat's whiskers now his children's book has almost sold out. The story of a feline friend he adopted, Alvin the cat who couldn't cat, is so popular it's now been translated into other languages. The money goes to help cat charities in the city, as Tom Ingle reports.
One day, when he felt brave, he jumped from the sofa to the chair.
The words are just the start. For these children from Beck Primary School in Sheffield, it's really about a journey into the imagination.
I will be the very best little cat I can possibly be.
This is Paul Grimshaw, a retired civil servant who is like the cat who got the cream. His pussycat page-turner is a hit.
The book is Alvin the cat who couldn't cat. It's largely a true story. Based on a little cat that we got from the Sheffield Cat Shelter. I decided to write it because there was a very special relationship between Alvin and the other cat that we got at the same time. Very supportive, very loving, because Alvin, he didn't know how to wash himself, he was very clumsy. He couldn't meow.
Now Alvin's legend has padded into the Lord Mayor's parlour as part of a children's literacy campaign.
Why is it important to read books, do you think?
So you can actually learn some things from books, have fun, because it's not just about factual books. You can have fun actually reading books.
When you read, it's like you're in your own little world and you can picture what you're reading in the book.
I've been telling them about books I liked when I was little. I've just met a little girl who's reading Stig of the Dump, which was my favourite book when I was little, so it's good to know it's still going.
They've gone down very well and the children seem to enjoy the book, which is the main thing.
Paul's clauses on claws are now being translated into Dutch.
It never learned to be a cat is the literal translation.
His fee is donated to felines, so while Alvin couldn't cat, he's making money for other moggies. A perfect ending. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
What do you think, Paul?
I think you were remarkable. I really do. And the
Hardly.
funny thing
There was
is,
lots of people doing it, not just me.
well, you bounded in this morning. You look fantastic, but you have been hobbling in the last couple of hours. I think you're stiffening up a bit, aren't you?
I've got to walk down the stairs backwards, which apparently is quite common after a marathon.
Brilliant. Well done. Absolutely fantastic. Right, let's have a look at the weather. Some great news to come if you're fed up of what's been an unsettled start to May. This tells its own story. A farmer sent this in Nunmonkton. Well, Susie did, but anyway, it's of a farm, and they've made the first cut of grass there. The farmers are on it. They know there's a lot of dry weather to come. You'll probably need around about 4 or 5 dry days or sunny days for that grass to dry out. So it is good news. High pressure looks set to dominate. If you've got any pictures, you can, of course, send them to me. The addresses are on your screen right now on Twitter, Instagram and on the Weather Watcher website. So it's been a pretty poor start to May, but it looks as though the second half of May will be largely dominated by high pressure, and that means a lot of fine weather. Not entirely dry. There could be 1 or 2 showers. Any weak fronts coming in from the west will just be more like a band of cloud and the odd spot of rain. Tomorrow, mostly dry, some sunshine, and again, the odd shower is possible, but just look what happens. This high pressure just pushes in from the west and then ends up dominating the weather. It's keeping weather fronts up to the northwest. This feature here could come across as on Friday, but as a very weak feature, no more than a band of cloud and the odd shower, and next weekend is looking pretty good. Now, there's the satellite sequence. You can see the clouds have been coming down from the northwest. That tells you it's been a northwesterly breeze, and it's been chilly, actually, out of the sun, and it sets us up for what's going to be a pretty chilly night. 1 or 2 showers at first then, but all this cloud is likely to melt away, and then with just a light breeze, there could just be a touch of grass frost in countryside areas, lowest temperatures coming in at around about 3 or 4 degrees. So tomorrow's high water times then, Scarp at 2:34, Bridlington at 2:57. So it's a chilly start in the morning, but a beautiful one with lots of blue sky. But as temperatures rise, you can see the clouds coming down from the northwest, developing in situ as well. 1 or 2 showers are possible, but they look fairly isolated features, and I suspect most places will stay dry. A little bit warmer tomorrow, 16 Celsius, not far from average actually for mid-May. So let's have a look at that all-important further outlook. Well, it tells its own story, doesn't it? Fine, partly cloudy, plenty of sunshine, temperatures on the up. Look at that next weekend, 19 or 20 degrees. That is the forecast.
I might have to do another marathon if you're going to be this nice to me.
Yes, I'll go on. I bet you don't, actually.
Now, we're going to end as we started tonight with one man who really can count on his thousands of friends, especially when he crosses that finish line. Good night.
You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. That's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah.